you actually start doing it, then like it's the first time I've ever traded in the last month. So like when you start doing it, you start to realize that it's easy to start kind of, I'll try this or try that sort of thing. And even just today's trading, I was up like 500, but then news hit and I wasn't paying attention. Like I knew it was coming, but I was tired from a big day of work, so I'm not really paying attention. Then news hit and it just reversed on me, and basically then I was like 400 under. But then when I looked at it all over at the end of the sort of session after a couple of hours, I looked and just said, if I just waited and taken the clear Confluence trades that were out of fresh air that the slingshot gave, if I'd just been patient and waited an hour and a half rather than messing around, it would have been better off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you follow the rules, whether you're using the automatic strategy builders or where the rules are a little bit. So Paul's, he'll provide, the xBrat. Well, actually, let me just go, really quick here. Just want to put up my risk disclosure thing here. But Paul's software here, will lay out like who the candidates are. Then you kind of have to go to the charts, and then as I've mentioned, he focuses more on swing trading stocks, as well as the future stuff that he does, where I don't buy stocks, I just buy the options. So what I am describing here is not necessarily a process that Paul might follow or you might follow, but it's just me. Wait, I forgot. Do you get the weekly sheet that says?
And that's my. I've got to start. I'm just very busy at work at the moment. I'm doing my trading every night on this future, so I haven't really had any energy left to do anything else. But like doing 16-hour days kind of thing. But yeah, that's my next thing. So that's why I'm still turning up to these, just so I can watch these and just familiarize myself with it.
Yeah, because then the reason I asked you that is, let me find it. So last week I said Disney. Let me open it up. So I'll just give you the short of it, the write-up. So if so the Disney trade I put on last Thursday, or I think it was Friday actually, and I said go long on Disney at the 5/31 expiration date at a strike of 102. And then in the thing that you see on the weekends, it tells you why and everything. And I said I entered at this price point. Here's my stop loss, and here was my initial target. So in the U.S., Mondays was Memorial Day, so the trading didn't exist and so forth. So yesterday, I put the trade on sometime late Friday morning, and then yesterday in the morning, late morning, I closed it out. I hit 76% on that trade. The premium, I said my initial stop was or profit was 0.80. It went up to 0.97 yesterday. And then I closed out. So being conservative and feeling great about 76% gain, I closed this out. Also, I noted that the markets are a bit toppy. And you can see today it's dropped. And if you looked at Disney today, I think it would actually be closer to the loss rather than the gain. So, but yeah, so, and I've had another one, CVNA, which I put out in May, earlier in May. Oh, yeah, here it is. Let me bring this one up here. So here's CVNA I put on May 3rd, I think it was. And I got in at 170, but you can see down here I made 168% in one day. It went from, on Friday it was at 170, and then on Monday, the 6th, it hit 455. So I closed out. I don't know if it went up any further, but as I stated here, while the wave 3 could have continued, which we look at on that Elliott wave stuff, it could retrace back into a pullback and so forth. So I took the 168% gain and so forth for a one-day trade. So I'm getting that all from the stocks predator here, and then working my chart process from that point also.
Awesome.
So they haven't all worked out. Like I have one on right now, Meta, which I did a couple weeks ago, and that's down. Well, actually, I already got out. I'll put a 20% stop, so that was a 20% loss. But this month I had a 20% loss, and then 168% gain, and a 60 or 76% gain. So the winners have been, doing better than the losers. So I'm doing well from that perspective.
Good.
All right. So do you have any particular questions?
No, I've just got it up though now. I've actually got 4 screens going now for this, so now I can actually really actually open up the stock better while I'm watching this and kind of follow along.
Okay. So I think you pretty much know the drill. I'm going to go back through it again because it's being recorded. I'm going to spend. I already looked at the choices here, and none of them really meet my criteria. I'll just pick one of them for an example. So run RUN popped up, and my very first thing is I check 2 things. I check to see if the expiration date has already expired, and then if that's the case, I won't take the trade. The other thing is this particular one was the call, and it was expiration date's November 15th of this year. And that's my process is I want to look for something that's going to expire within 45 days. So we're looking 6 months out. I don't want to have this trade. I mean, the trade could run up really quickly and so forth, but between now and then you've got earnings reports, different things like that coming out. So there's just, too much for me to risk there, or not risk, but I'd rather look for some other trade. The victory rate was good and everything, but like I said, it was just way too far out on this particular one. So because I looked at coin and CRDO, neither one of them, they were in the same spot. One of them, coin, the expiration date had already passed. You can see here 510. That's already that has already passed, so I don't want to do that. And then CRDO, it's all the way out. The July date, it's pretty close. That could, I'm not sure why I'm getting all these banners here. CRDO was close, but the victory rate was below 10. And as I've mentioned below, I look for double-digit victory rate, anything 10 and above. If it's close to 10, like 9.7 or something like that, or 9.5, I'll consider it. But look at all the other stuff a little more strongly to see if it survives my process. So with that said, there's nothing really here in the Confluence meter. And I've mentioned there's 2. My second process that I go through is I'll go down to this unusual activity bar down here. And what I'm looking at, so the market is down today, and I think it's it's hit a lot of highs and everything, so it could have some pullbacks. So I'm going to be I'm probably going to lean a little more on the puts than the calls. But what I'll do is, on both cases, I want to sort this field up here so that it has the most current date. So the 28th was yesterday, and I'll do the same thing. I want to do the same thing down here is, get the 28th here. So that gives that's stock predator's most current stock symbols to work with and so forth. So that's the first thing I do. Then what I do is I'm going to go over to the victory rate, and I'm looking for double digits. And when I see the double digit in the victory rate, I want to go back and I see, well, this one's 531. That's like in 2 days. It's possible that, to make the trade in 2 days and make some money, but I'm going to, for today's sake anyway, hold off from making that trade at this point. Looking further. I want something that says a little, maybe at least a week, so that we can look at the charts more accurately and so forth. It's not that I wouldn't make this trade if necessary, but I want to hold off. Now I do see SP. The other one, I don't really like the low price stocks. I usually look for ones that are around $10 or more, just because they tend to have more volume. So even though this one has a victory rate of 138, it also expires in 2 days. So it's as right now the stock price is $1. So in 2 days, a small stock would have to go from $1 up close to 2.5 to make a decent profit. The next one on this is GPS. Now this is a $20 stock. It's looking at 24, but this is also May. I'm going to go down. All right, here's May. All right, so here's a July 19th eBay. So it's from yesterday, it printed yesterday. It has a stock price around 53 up, and it's saying it's looking at the 60 strike, and it has a victory rate of over 13.42. So that one looks as a potential candidate from the call side. I want to do it from the put side as well, because I'm a little more bearish at the moment than bullish, but I'm going to write down eBay, and I'm going to write down it's the 60 strike and a 719 bait. So I'm just going to grab that one. And then while we're at it, I'm going to look at this board. Any questions on that right there?
That's cool.
Okay. Since we're on the board here, I'm going to look at double-digit puts. That's May 31st. All right, here's one down here. VFC. I don't know what that is, but VFC, as you can see, it has a June 7th expiration and a $11 strike price. You can see, and it's over, the victory rate's 10.9. So it's over my my checklist and so forth. So with that said, I'm going to jump over now to the charts and look to see how the call and the put are of those two stocks, the eBay and the VFC, how they look just from going through this process. So let me jump over to here. And I'm going to put up eBay first. Okay. All right, let me put eBay over here as well. Okay, so my next step, as you've heard me talked about, is I'm going to look to see if earnings. Now, earnings had already occurred back on the beginning of May, and it beat, as you saw there, it beat. The estimate was 0.96, and it was actually 1.25. So that I look to see if it's already passed, and how well did it do, and I want to make sure earnings is not within 14 days of my trade. I've talked about the whole implied volatility and things like that, uncertainties and so forth. And you can look at my on the Teams channel, my stock options channel that's in there, and you can look at some of the videos and so forth. So far, this is checking off. It's beyond earnings at this point. Nothing's earning-wise is coming up, and it actually beat earnings. So that would be bearish, or I'm sorry, bullish for this particular call that we're looking at. The next thing I want to do is look at the implied volatility and historic, and it looks like they're about the same. I want the implied volatility, which is the cyan color one, to be below the purplish one. It's right around there. I wouldn't throw it out because it's so close, but my preference would be, as you can see, like over here where it was down low here, and ended up being below the purple line and so forth. That's where I would like to see it. I'm not going to throw it away because it looks like it's just possibly like a little span between it. So that's okay. Not my perfect situation, but okay. But the thing I don't particularly like is, let me maximize this chart here. What I don't like is that the current implied volatility rank is 31. That means that 31.69% of the time, implied volatility is lower than it is right now. I like to see it below the 25 line. It's close. It's at 31, but it's not exactly the best spot. Like you can see where all these are down lower here, but this is a July, so it is possible the implied volatility could drift down even lower, and that would have a negative impact on the option pricing. So I probably would not look further on this trade at this point in time. So I'm going to stop moving forward in my process because I don't like the ranking right now. I do also want to look at the VFC because we only have a few more minutes. I've got a hard stop coming up here. So I'm going to put VFC in here. This was that put VFC. Okay. So we're also past the earnings was on 5/22 last week. It did poorly. You know, they were expecting positive earnings. It came out negative, as you can see right there. So that's a good note from since we're looking at a put and we're bearish on this. So that's a good sign there. So you have to look whether you're looking at calls or puts on the earnings information. As you can see here, however, the implied volatility is quite a bit above the historic volatility. So that does not meet my personal criteria. Even though the implied volatility rank is down low, I don't like this situation here. I am going to put VFC just in this chart to see if I see anything interesting here. But for this chart alone here, I would not make that trade. Doesn't mean it won't work out, but I would not. Personally, I'm not going to make that trade. I do want to look here. I'm not seeing anything on here to support at this point a bearish play at this point either, because we already hit the bearish point on this wave 5 pullback back whatever date. I have something blocking my screen dates down there, but sometime around 520 or so it hit the low, and then now it's moving into a pullback to like a new bullish wave up. So I'm not going to take this trade at this point in time. Any questions at this point, Matt?
No. So usually you just use the Elliott wave. Would it typically be used for swing trading?
Yeah, you could use the swing trading as well. Now the difference is this is this indicator is built for wave 5 moves. The slingshot will show you wave 1s, wave 3s, and wave 5s. It won't denote them as 1, 3, and 5s, but if you get the let me go back. Let's go back to that ES trade, ES for a moment. So when you get this red zone up here, that means that could be anything that moves down to these areas could be pulling into a wave 1 or a wave 3 or a wave 5. So you can certainly use the slingshot, and I do have it on a different machine. I just can't share it with my stocks and stuff like that. I do have other the other indicators and so forth, similar to what you see. This is the ES, the S&P 500 futures, and that we were looking at earlier between us. So yeah, you can use the slingshot, and if you get like a sell or you might not get the sell signal, and you may just want to play off of coming out of this zone, and you could use that as, now this is a Uni Renko one. If you were going to do it with the stocks Predator, I would be using the daily time frame, so that you can get a better picture of where things are with that.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Nice.
And as you can see here, we were talking about earlier, I had put that trade on before you joined right around here, and it's still it still hasn't even gotten down there. I took the trade off, as you know, but it has not. It didn't, just kind of flinking around.
So how long does it take for one of those candles to one of those Unarenko bars to print?
Oh, it could be. Let me go back there. So some of them, you can see there's 6 minutes between some of them. Some of them are like really quick. It could be like, and here's one, 9:02 to 9:27, just between those. Some of them, it can happen, depends on the price action and the volume and so forth, and how it's pushing, you know. So I can't really answer like a definitive number. It could be 1 minute or it could be 30 minutes, you know.
All right. Okay, cool. Interesting.
Yeah. All righty, Matt. I got
all right. Well, I'll see you. I'll try and see you tomorrow night as well.
Okay, sounds good. Take care and have a good one.
You too. See you, mate. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.